Welcome to another interesting video on arithmetic sequence. This time we are going to connect the concepts learned in arithmetic sequence with the gradient of a line, and that will help us to solve these questions within few seconds. Yes, this is what you wanted, correct? You can always join my classes on the email address given here and learn much more. See how we connect one concept with another, make things interesting and simpler for you to solve. This approach can help us understand arithmetic sequence better and develop a critical thinking skill for solving such questions. Let us now enjoy the lesson and understand the concepts which can be used forever. I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the website Global Math Institute. In this video, we'll discuss arithmetic sequence related questions. We'll find the missing terms in the given question along with the nth term or the general formula or the general rule for the arithmetic sequence. In case you want to learn from me, you can always send an email on the address given here. Many of my grade 7 and 8 students have mastered the skill of solving such questions, and I hope it should be very simple for all of you also. At the end of the video, you will be able to answer such questions in less than a minute. Now let's go through these questions. We need to find the missing terms and the nth term in each arithmetic sequence. There are 4 questions given to you. I'd like you to pause the video, answer these questions, and then look into my suggestions. In the very first question, we are given second and third term. We are also given that these are all arithmetic sequence. That means constant difference between the consecutive terms. We are also given the 10th term so that you can verify that your formula is correct once you derive or write down the nth term for each sequence. So basically, in the first one, you have to find the value of first term A, the starting point, and 21st term value when you are given second, third, and 10th terms. In question number 2, you again have to find A. So A, you can see the initial value is a must to find in all these cases, and that really helps you to find the nth term, right? Now, once you find the nth term, then you find the other value using your formula. You can also verify that the given third term is satisfied with your formula. That is the key. Perfect. So I hope you got the gist. Some of you can now pause the video, answer the question, and then look into my suggestions. I'll begin with the basic concepts as I did in my earlier videos also. So as you know, arithmetic sequence is what? Well, arithmetic sequence increase or decrease at a constant rate called the common difference, which we say D in our case. So the common difference between the consecutive terms is always constant. If it is constant, then only it is arithmetic sequence, correct? So a general expression could be starting at A, add D each time. So in the second term, we will add 1D, in the third term 2Ds, in the fourth term 3Ds, and so on. That gives us the formula for the general term in general, correct? So what you notice here is the first term is A, second is A plus D, third is A plus 2D, fourth is A plus 3D. You are adding one less D than the term number, and therefore nth term should be A plus n minus 1 times D. That is the formula given in most of the books, and it helps to find the nth term. However, we could simplify this and write it in an alternate way that helps us to answer such questions in less than a minute. So if you want to answer the question in less than a minute, a better formula would be this, which can be easily derived from here, correct? So the steps are, of course, you could expand and simplify, applying the distributive property, and that gives you an idea that it is kind of a linear graph, right? dn. D denotes slope, and a minus d is your y-intercept. You get the idea. So the graph shown here, which I may draw a bigger one, right? So let me draw a bigger one here. So the graph will be kind of like this. For arithmetic, it starts with always a positive number. So this number here is a minus d. You get the idea. And the gradient or the slope is d. Change in y over change in x is what d is. That is what we say, that it increases or decreases at a constant rate. That means we're talking about constant slope or gradient. So that is how you should connect the arithmetic sequence with the numbers, the term values, and the graph. That will help you to visualize and answer the questions quickly. Perfect. Here's an illustration for you with an example which you can go through. However, we have to do 4 questions. So now, let's begin with these questions. So the very first one here is, well, I've given you the formula right there on the top so that if you don't remember them, you can use these formulas which are given to you. In many test papers, all the formulae are given to you, no need to remember, and you can always derive them if required, if you have understood the concepts. Now, let's look into question number 1, which is find the missing terms and general formula for each sequence. Now, we know that these are arithmetic sequences. In short, I wrote this here. Since these are arithmetic sequences, what is the common difference? Let's figure out the common difference. So going from second to third, these are consecutive terms. We go from 9 to 3. We decrease by 6. So we know clearly that D is minus 6. Correct. Now, in this case, it is much simpler. If I want to go to the other side, what should I do? Well, I should add 6, right? So if I'm going in the reverse direction, I should add 6, and that will give you 9 plus 6 as 15. Perfect. So I get A as 15, even without using any formula. You get the idea. So we get the value of A as 15. I'm trying to show you the strategies which can help you find the solution in minimal time. This is very important from many test point of views, correct? Okay, and now let's find the general term, Tn. General term is, we are going to use this particular formula which relates D, the common difference, times n plus a minus d, right? So in this case, d is minus 6. So we get minus 6n plus a is 15, and 15 minus of d is minus 6. So that becomes what? That becomes plus 6. You get this, right? So we get minus 6n plus 21. So that becomes the general formula. Now, we have the general formula. We need to find the 21st term. So we'll substitute 21 here and calculate, right? So T21 will be minus 6 times 21 plus 21. And you can now multiply and get the solution. So we have minus of 6 times 1 is 6, and 6 times 2 is 12. So minus 2, 1 to 6, and to this we'll add 21. And what do you get? Well, we get 105 negative. So here the answer is negative 105. Does it make sense? So we can write down here negative 105 as the 21st term. Do you see how easily we can solve such questions? Perfect. So that is how you will be doing it. There are many ways of solving these questions. However, I find this to be the most efficient way. I'll also like you to check if you get this value right or not with the help of your formula. Perfect. Okay, let's move on to question number 2. Now, in question number 2, we are not given the consecutive terms. Now we are given third and the eighth term. Now, how do you find the difference between third and the eighth term, right? So you're going from here. From third to eighth term, we can find the common difference. Common difference D is what? D is change in y values over change in x values, right? Change in y values, think like this, 19 minus 4 divided by 8 minus 3. That is what D is. It is like gradient, you get the idea. It is like gradient with 2 points. And so, 19 minus 4 is 15, 8 minus 3 is 5, and so we get a value of 3. You get the idea. So we have the value of D as 3. And now you need to find the value of A, right? So now we know that the gradient is 3, and therefore, what should be the value of this number? Well, let us calculate once again. We are now looking into these two terms, right? And we know 3 is the gradient. So 3 is what? 3 minus 1. 4 minus we don't know, right? So 4 minus we don't know divided by 3 minus 1, correct? So we can now calculate this value, which we don't know. So this is basically 4 minus what we don't know over 2. Cross multiply. We get 6 equals to 4 minus what you don't know. And therefore, we get this value as 4 minus 6, which is minus 2. So here we get a value which is minus 2. Do you see how we have used the concept of gradient to get our answer? Correct? That's the beauty which I wanted to share with you. And now we can find the nth term. So let's write down the nth term. We're going to use this particular formula right there, which is product of d times n, d being 3 for us. So we get 3n plus a minus d. So a is minus 2 minus d, which is minus 3. So that makes it minus 5. So Tn is 3n minus 5. Correct? That is how we are going to use it. Now we can find the 15th term. So you can write T15 is 3 times 15 minus 5. Perfect. So which is 45 minus 5, and that is equal to 40. So we get this value as 40. Perfect. That is how very easily you can solve these questions. Does it make sense to you? Perfect. Now, I would like you to apply these strategies and solve question number 3 and then question number 4. Have a good look at it, right? So, in this case, what will you do? You're given the two terms, 4th and 11th, with the values. You can find the value of D, right? So D basically is the difference between these two, quotient of difference. So we have 35 minus 14 divided by 11 minus 4. And the value of D is, now you can say 5 minus 4 is 1, 3 minus 1 is 2, and divided by 7, and that gives you 3. So we have the value of D as 3. Now once again, we are going to apply this to the first and the fourth term. So we have now D is 3, and so we have 14 minus what we don't know divided by 4 minus 1, which is 3. So we have this as 14 minus we don't know over 3. Cross multiply, 9 equals to 14 minus what you don't know, and that value will be 14 minus 9, correct? Which is 5. So we know A is 5 for us. So let me write down a as 5 right there. Correct? Now, let's find the nth term, Tn. To find nth term, we'll do Tn as d. We are using this particular formula. As I said, d, which is known to us as 3, so 3n plus a minus t. A is 5. 5 minus 3, right? So 5 minus 3, which is 2. So Tn is 3n plus 2. That is what the result is. You get the idea. Now, you can find the 16th term by substituting 16 for n and then multiplying by 3 and then add 2. 16 times 3 is 48 plus 2 is 50, and therefore this should be 50. You get the idea how fast we are going to do this question. Simple concept is gradient. Do you understand? Very simple. Just by gradient, we are actually solving arithmetic sequence questions. Perfect. The last one here could be a practice test question for you. So I'm leaving this for you to practice. Let it be a practice test question. I like you to time yourself. You get the idea? See in how much time you are going to solve it. Perfect. The idea is we have to first find the value of d by taking these differences, right? So the ratio of these differences. So the value of d is basically minus 45 minus of minus 25 divided by 12 minus 7. That is how you get the value of d, right? So it is minus 45 plus 25. And when you take away 25, you get minus 20 here, right? And denominator 12 minus 7 is 5. And that gives you minus 4 as the value of d. You can see that it is indeed decreasing, right? So it makes sense. It is decreasing at the rate of 4 units per term number. You get the idea. So 4, 4 like this. That is how it is decreasing. Now, we can now find the first term. First term, but we know that the gradient is 4. So let me use a different ink and now work on this side. So what do we have? We have minus 4, which is the gradient, is equal to minus 25 times what we don't know. You can also write x for that. And then 7 minus 1. So which is 8. So it is minus 4 times 8 equals to minus 25 minus x. So x is equals to minus 25 plus 32, which is 4 times 8 is 32, right? So when you get this, x is equals to what? So 5 plus 2, 7, right? So positive 7 is the value of x. So this value is 7 for you. Perfect. So that gives you another value required. The first term a, we know both a and d now. Perfect. What is a? A is equal to 7 and d is equal to minus 4. So now we can find what a minus d is and get the result. So the nth term is basically equal to minus 4n plus a minus d, which is 7. Minus and minus becomes plus 4. In this case, it will be minus 4n plus 11. So the nth term is minus 4n plus 11. You can now find the 20th term by substituting 20 for n. So minus 4 times 20 plus 11 should give you the answer. So minus 80 plus 11 is your answer. So which is equal to, if this was 10, then it was minus 70, but it is 11. So it has to be minus 69. You get the idea. So minus 69 is the value for the 20th term. Does it make sense to you? Right? That is how we are going to solve these questions. You see how this particular formula changed the game. We actually converted this to a linear equation kind of a thing. It is indeed. And we worked out the y-intercept, a minus d, and found our solution with y equals to mx plus b concept. That is the great part of it. And we solved all the 4 questions in this video without any problems. I hope you understand and appreciate this. And if you do, then even if you are in grade 7 or 8, you will be in a position to answer grade 10 and 11 questions as many of my students are doing. I hope it makes sense. Feel free to write your comments, share your views, and if you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your time and all the best.